Welcome to the We For John podcast. I am Soaring Knight, and today we are joined by RaptorATX, HangryPixels, and Tyr Milner. Today we'll be starting a discussion about finding your purpose outside of the 9-to-5 job. All socials will be linked in the show notes. Hope you enjoy the episode. So, how you guys been doing?
Doing good. Hanging in there.
Fantastic.
Why you always lying? Why are you lying? Yeah.
What am I supposed to say? That's a loaded ass question.
Let's just put it. I've been laughing.
Okay. All right.
I've been laughing for the previous few minutes.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good, positive, upbeat news.
Right. Got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So how's BB doing?
Exactly.
She's doing all right. We had another scare, so I had to take her back in. She's on a lot of medication right now, with everything that happened with her tummy, a couple different antibiotics, and so she got a real upset tummy, and we're working through it until she can get through this antibiotic course and hopefully be all better. So every day is an adventure, let's say.
It's the same with children too.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
Yeah.
Oh man. So Faith is going back to the Mayo Clinic at the end of the month. So she leaves June 26th. And then the kids, I have to take them to camp that same day. And so I literally almost have a whole week of no kids, no wife.
I mean, what's the plan?
What do you
do?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I've been trying to figure out, like, trying to get some guests come on, do a couple interviews. I don't know, stay up till as late as I can, at least until like at least midnight, because I still have to go to work.
Yeah.
I would have taken off.
Oh, at least midnight. Absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been working at this place for a whole year yet, so I don't have any vacation or sick time, so that's out of the question.
Bummer.
That is actually the week that I'm off that week. So if we want to, connect too, and if you other guys are available, the first 3 days I think I'm off, and then I'm going glamping for the first time ever. Yeah.
Please don't tell me that's what I think it is.
It is what you think it is.
That is camping with glamour.
Yes, with jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Spirit fingers.
Yeah, so we're renting a cabin, and so we're gonna be up in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, which apparently is pretty nice place. So.
Yeah, it sounds nice. I mean, you started with glamping.
Yeah.
So I guess it has indoor plumbing then, if it's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming I even probably have Wi-Fi. So, like, is it even camping? Like, I don't know. This is what happens when I let the wife, plan the birthday endeavors.
That's all right.
Well, my wife wouldn't even do that. She's not a fan of camping at foreign locations. So I would say you're doing all right.
It's a middle ground. I love camping. I love roughing it. If I could, I would jump off of the grid and just like wild man it out in the woods somewhere.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And the wife is the other way. She's like, I need cities, I need restaurants, and I'm like, all right, well, here we are in the middle.
I need to shave my legs.
Yeah. I can't go more than 3 days. Yeah. Never have, never will.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I know. Me and Faith are planning a trip in November to celebrate our 12-year anniversary, and so we're gonna go to Florida. That's the plan, at least. And
nice.
So I'm gonna.
Don't come see me.
Yep. So I'm gonna spend literally probably not even gonna be a full day. Literally gonna go to Disney, do the droid depot, get me a droid, and leave. Like I don't care about anything else there.
No lightsaber, just a droid.
Well, it's a cost thing. I can do a droid, and
it's expensive.
It's $100 for the droid, and then plus the accessory. So you're looking closer to like $150, and then a lightsaber, they start at $220. And I'm like, I could get a Neo Pixel later on and actually use that for battles versus the Disney one.
Yeah. I think I have a battle ready one. I actually have with several different blades that I paid not too much more than $220. So I'm with you there.
But at least you get your money's worth on that one.
Yeah, I mean it's battle ready. It's got like sounds, lights flashing, all that kind of stuff when you fight with it. So yeah.
I was watching videos. They're like, get the one from Disney, and they're like an over-glorified showpiece because they're not battle ready. The sensors are so out of whack. Like you can whoosh it, and it half a second delay. So
Officially
then-
licensed merchandise.
Yep.
Yes, right.
Nice to display.
Which means it's ass. It means it's ass. It's
Pretty
always
much.
ass.
Third
Yeah,
party's the way to
There's
go.
a
on
crisp
that one.
high five waiting there for you when you get down here, eh?
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Definitely gonna do a barbecue for sure. Maybe try. I will try some sushi.
Like for the first time ever?
Yeah.
On the barbecue.
I figured if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it with Raptor, right?
Well,
Dude, I will get you some shit, dude.
And,
I am the sushi connoisseur.
Yep. And then the other side of it is we're gonna go to Universal for Faith because she wants to do the Harry Potter experience and go to Ollivanders and get a wand.
Nice.
Definitely get butterbeer and not be rushed in line because the last time we went, we literally only had time to get butterbeer, and then my family's like, "See ya, we're gonna go." So we literally had to run through, get butterbeer, and then leave. It sucked.
yeah.
Don't you hate that? Like when you go to enjoy an experience and everybody else is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is boring. I'm gonna leave," and you're like, Can I look at shit, please?"
Yeah, exactly.
That happened to me. Okay, so I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna keep my voice down because my wife might hear me. But so we went to Biketoberfest in Daytona, right?
Mhm.
I had never been to Biketoberfest before, right? I've been to other biker events. You know, you guys know I ride, right? I've been to other biker events. I've never been to Biketoberfest. So we're in Daytona. We're at the speedway and shit. And so we meet up with like 4 or 5 different groups of bikers, and they're all like, "Okay, we're ready to ride." And I'm like, "But this is Six Flags of bike. What? Why? I wanna do." And they're like, "No, come on,
Just
man.
got
You know,
here."
it'll be there next year." And I'm like, "But you guys have seen this 25 fucking times. I have not. So
Right.
can
Oh.
I please?"
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
But no,
100%.
of course, because the wife wanted to stick as a group. Guess what we did?
We're riding.
Yep.
Yeah, we
I
went
had a
riding.
great time.
Best time ever.
That's funny. Yeah, so we're gonna celebrate our 12 years. Go to Florida, see Raptor, spend time with them. We might even stay in the night. We're still fine tuning the details, but Mitch,
Oh, there will be plenty of beer.
I don't drink beer, but I'll let you drink beer.
There will be plenty of Mike's Hard Lemonade.
That's all right.
Smirnoff Ices.
Yeah.
There you go.
Red's apple cider. I'll hit it eventually.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't do a whole lot of drinking just for personal reasons, but like if I'm gonna drink, it's not beer.
Yeah.
Right,
It's-
hard drugs.
it is-
Got it. I'm kidding.
He's-
Do not do hard drugs.
No, it's
He
all
said
like the
Before John does not in any way endorse use of drugs.
yeah, it's all like the
Don't do
fruit
drugs,
fruit
kids, it's
drinks.
bad.
Like I'll grab like the Seagrams, and,
Okay.
or I'll drink like
Okay.
a amaretto with lemonade. Like it's nothing hard at all. It's all like low buzz stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raptor, you can complain all you want. I don't care. I like what I like. Don't yuck my yum.
I know
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is about men
judgment.
liking what they like and being able to open up about but man, amaretto and lemonade?
Yes.
I feel judgment here coming across from Raptor.
I might put the glasses back on. Shoot.
Yeah, you might need to.
I'm feeling the
Why,
Yeah, I
yeah,
know
those
I was
eyeballs.
like, why do you take the aviators off? I'm digging the sunglasses vibe.
Okay.
Right?
The reason why I did that is because I have OBS on my monitor on the right, and when I have the sunglasses on, I cannot see that monitor. It's so dim just because it's
Oh, God.
not very. It's on a bright.
Oh,
bright
so it's
panel.
to keep you from looking at it.
I'm checking audio levels, making sure we're not peaking.
He's like, all right, guys, how are we doing?
If we want to
today?
peek.
Yeah.
Are we doing good?
Yeah.
No,
Like a horse with blinders on, just like I can't look at no eye contact.
no. So okay, so I've been shadowing someone at church for audio, and so like me learning how they do audio is starting to kind of help me figure out audio over here. And so like I got both of our volumes in the sweet spot, and then every time Raptor gets excited, he
Red
know,
lines.
he he eats the mic, and then
Is that better?
I mean, you being on is good enough for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Aw.
All right, so
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm doing the best that I can.
well, I appreciate you. So
Duct tape and juice holding this oil machine together. That's
So
it.
when
Duct tape.
when I did the interview with Saya towards the end of the episode, we kind of t-balled or softballed finding your purpose. We kind of talked a little bit about it, and so I wanted to start a 2-part episode just talking about like finding our purpose outside of our 9-to-5 jobs, because I know especially with 2020, a lot of guys were left out of a job, and a lot of times they put their identity and purpose in that job. So I just wanted to kind of talk about like what what are ways that we can find purpose? Like, what really is purpose? So I kind of just want to have like a discussion and kind of just talk about that kind of stuff.
Oh, just something light, like what is purpose?
What is
All right, got it.
what is the meaning of life
Exactly.
And
and
yeah.
everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is
just
42.
dinner time conversation,
42.
guys.
Yep. Don't hold a bucket and go into the broom closet, and stay there for too long, because that's the Stanley
Yes.
Parable.
Yes.
That's my favorite
The
part.
bucket.
I watched that clip so many times.
I get that reference.
Yep.
I don't get it.
So in the game, the Stanley Parable, you play as employee 427, and you have this character. He narrates like, you going through this game, like everything, like he takes the door on the left, or like you take the door on the right. He's like, oh well, this is really part of the story, but we can find our way around. Well, there's a broom closet that you come across. And the narrator's like, "Oh no, don't go in there. That will not further the story at all. Don't not go in there." And then
There's absolutely nothing to do in here.
so then you go in there, and he's like, "You
Of
are
course, you have to.
yeah." And he's like, "You're a complete imbecile. There is like no intelligence in this body whatsoever. I'm just gonna stay here and not say anything until you get out of the closet." And you sit there for a couple minutes, and he's like, "Oh God, I really hope they send a replacement." So,
He gets irate if you stay there too long. The
Yeah.
narrator. It's a classic
Bro!
moment. But
So what do you guys, who wants to go first? Hangry top left?
I mean, speaking from top left over here, we're really we're brought up to think that like purpose is grow up, get a job, get married, have kids, yada yada yada, and that's purpose. So I mean, obviously, my purpose and my passion is, my family, my daughter, my wife. So I'll be speaking a little bit more outside that and more of personal purpose, which is I feel is a little different because personal purpose is what makes you who you are, and what you think of when you think, "Why am I here?" That kind of thing. And basically, just what gets you out of bed every morning. Um, so that's my take on it. I don't know what everyone else feels about that. Like I said, a family, obviously, you live for family, you live for friends, but what drives you every day to make you better?
yeah, and the tricky thing about that question is like everybody's purpose is different. That answer is
Mhm.
going to be, there might be a couple similarities between each person, but ultimately, like, it is different for every single person. My purpose is going to be different than Hangry's. Raptor's purpose is going to be much different than Tears, and so on and so forth. Like, what we find purpose in, or like things that we associate purpose, is very vastly different. And like I said, like a lot of guys, they put their identity and purpose in their jobs, and that's just super dangerous to do. Like, I haven't had a whole lot of jobs in my whole working career. A lot of it was automotive, but like my longest time I was at a job was 7 years, and it started off great. They were treating me great, and then over time, that relationship started to erode because I was putting my purpose in family versus my job. They wanted me to perform, they wanted me to be there, and I was like, I mean, in 2019, I literally watched my wife die in front of me. It was like for 10 seconds, but for me, it was an eternity. So if she's having health issues, I am not like, I'm sorry, I love this job, but this job is not me potentially losing her if I'm not with her. So when that,
And that's the point. Family
Yeah.
always comes first. So what's beyond that for personal purpose?
I think jobs kind of manipulate you by saying, "Oh, we're a family," trying to get you into thinking that, okay, so this is my family now, so then I should put this above.
There's some streamer communities that do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. You can't. It's not just the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. They are.
Yeah.
They are everywhere.
I've been in a couple communities. that work that way.
Imagination.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been with my job. I think I'm going on close to 20 years now. I started in 2001, so yeah, a little over 20 years. And when I started, it was maybe 150 people tops. Now we're nationwide. I couldn't even tell you who is working with our company right now. It's such a different um, company. My job it's completely different. Like you said, in 2020, I was furloughed for 5 or 6 months, and basically I got the call to come back, but my job wasn't available anymore. So it was either come back, we have this job for you, which is sales, which I've always said I would never ever want to do ever, or don't come back at all. So I'm like, well, I like I like eating, I like having a roof above my head, so a paycheck would be nice. But the job I'm doing now, um, I'm not passionate about it. I do it because it pays the bills. So I do struggle to find that purpose sometimes. Um, so I've taken up other things that I find I have passion about. Streaming is one of them. Cooking, music. One of the first things I wake up and I think about in the morning is breakfast. But
Coffee.
if it's like a streaming day, I'll think, oh, I cannot wait to finish work and get streaming tonight. So that's kind of what drives me, at least Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. But
Feel the same way.
Yeah.
I got really lucky to be able to make my purpose my job. I had to cough real loud. I didn't want to do that in your ear. So my job, I was a career counselor, which is basically I help people who already have the skills necessary to further their career, but don't exactly know how to present themselves, or don't know who to talk to, or don't know how to present themselves. You know what I mean? Don't know what to say, don't know what to put on the resume, don't know what to
Mm.
pitch to their boss for a promotion or a raise. And that's what I felt like, my purpose was. Unfortunately, losing my job, I lost my purpose as well. So that it wasn't that I put my eggs in my basket and I made my job my purpose. It's just I made my purpose my job. Um, so now I'm actually trying to do, I'm trying to figure out what the hell, you know, um, and it blows. I don't
It's
want to
not
bring
easy.
anybody down. It absolutely blows, and this could not have come at a worse time. Um, but yeah, I mean, I truly loved what I did. I truly loved watching people who were ready to quit their jobs. I mean, people who were just like, I don't feel like my boss notices me, or I feel like my company's taking advantage of me, or I feel like that I'm not paid enough for what I do, and inspiring them to grab hold of their life and go and talk to their boss. And a lot of times, your boss is just waiting for you to ask. They're not going to sit here and be like, hey, have more money. They're not going to do that. It's not their job. And the bottom line is
No.
their job. But if you ask and you're worth it, they'll give it to you. And, that was a wonderful thing for me to be able to watch people. And they did the work. All I did was kind of nudge them, you know what I mean? And kind of give them the tools. And it's wonderful to see people really take charge, especially now, because the job market, well, I mean, until, the mass quitting or whatever,
Yeah.
the job market was awful. I mean, people, you couldn't get a better job. You couldn't get more pay. They were like, you're lucky to have a job. We just furloughed a bunch of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So companies were treating associates, team members, employees, whatever you call them, like crap.
Mm-hmm.
And, so my work was that much more rewarding because I got to stand up for the little guy. I didn't, you know what I mean? I got to stand up for the
Yeah.
little guy and be like, look, man, here's a slingshot. Slay the giant, and it fucking sucks that so this is a perfect kind of topic because I'm trying to find a purpose now too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I was doing research. I've read so between my interview with Saya to now, I've probably read about 16 different articles, just trying to figure out like how to come up with questions and like steer this topic, and it's a lot to take in. But there's not really a whole lot of stats. But the only stat that I came up with was So like if you're asking yourself what is your purpose, know that you're not alone, because literally, like, there was one study that showed that only a quarter of the Americans, like American adults that were they were surveyed, only a quarter of them said that they had a clear sense of what their purpose was. That means there's
You want to hear a disturbing
75%.
statistic real quick?
Yeah, it's
You want to hear a disturbing statistic?
Sure.
Right? 70% of people actively hate their jobs. Actively hate it. Not don't like it, not are indifferent. They actively hate their jobs. And you know why? Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
70% of working Americans hate their job. That is awful. While it does create good demand for my work, well, it did. Uh, it's a pathetic statistic. It's disturbing. It's horrifying because again, a lot of these people think that this is the best they can do. And me and my wife were just having this conversation. Like, is this? And I'm gonna get a little personal here. And so
That's what this platform is about.
just for a minute, you know what I mean? Me and my wife were literally just having this conversation over dinner. I was, I asked her, I was like, is this what fucking life is? You bleed, you sweat, you break for a company, you give them everything you got and they throw you out. And I'm not the dude who has it the worst off. There's people worse off than me. You know what I mean? There's people sure as hell better, but there's people a lot worse. And I'm thinking like, how am I going to pay my rent? Because I don't own this house. I'm renting this house, and the rental market blows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, is this what life is supposed to be? Work till you die, and hopefully you can pay for shit. Like that's awful.
Well,
I was looking up quotes before we went live, and one of the ones I found that stood out was from Mark Twain, and it said the two most important days in life are the day you were born and the day you find out why you were born, or to that effect. And that really stood out because no, you're not meant to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, just to earn that paycheck to pay for living expenses and food and necessities. You're meant to find out why you're here. Is it to bring other people happiness, bring other people joy, bring other people up, help other people? Why are you here? And a lot of us, yeah, like the statistic says, a lot of us struggle with that. We just don't know why we're here.
I think the other issue is too, people don't ask either. Like they don't ask themselves like what their purpose is. Especially as you're younger, that's not really a purpose. Is like you set goals for yourself, like I want to have this job, or I want to have this house, or it's often very material. But like other than that, which obviously isn't a purpose, so maybe it's a short-term purpose, I guess, but it's not like an overarching purpose. People don't think about like what the long-term mission is. They don't have like a vision statement for themselves like many companies do. I think that's something we've got to be better about as people. Is like, okay, so if you're lucky enough to be able to have a job or have a career or work towards whatever your purpose is, something that brings you joy, then you're blessed, right? Like it's that old saying, like, find a job that you love to do and you don't actually work a day in your life, or something along those lines, right? But for the majority of people, you're working your 9 to 5 to make a means to an end. And so it's that time when you're not at work that you've really got to find purpose. And if somehow you can make those two things align, you're blessed, right? And I think it's funny because like when I was younger, and I've been married and divorced, and growing up, my goal in life was like, I want to get married, I want to have the house with the white picket fence, I want to have 2.3 kids, and like that was the goal, right? And then the marriage didn't work out.
2.3
2.3 kids, man, the American dream. So and then like as I was in my marriage and things didn't work out, it was like, all right, so like that whole idea was shot to hell, so it kind of left me searching, and I had other struggles too, because a lot of my self-worth was in other people, and it wasn't I had no real self-worth. It was something that I put into my relationships, and so I was left with a void and depression, and I struggled with it growing up, and it was there after the marriage as well. And it wasn't really until I figured out who I was and the things that I enjoyed and tried to develop myself that I at least was able to work through some of the things like self-confidence, body, start working on the body dysmorphia, even though that's an everyday struggle, that kind of stuff. And that's helped me move closer. And to be honest, like at this point in my career, in my life, streaming, like to your point, Hangry, is like one of the big things that I really look forward to. I used to just stream like Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and then I would be so like sad and depressed, or like I'd be longing for Friday so much, not because I didn't have to work, but because I wanted to spend time with the people that like I had connected with, these people that we all cared about. And so I was like, oh shit, I'm just gonna add a Wednesday in there now. So that's why I stream on Wednesdays. It was really like a way to connect with these people and see them and check in, because it's like, to your point, like I get home, or that Wednesday morning rolls around, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got stream tonight. Like I can't wait to go spend time with these people, because I find joy in that. And in the relationships that I build with those folks, it's like, okay, how can I help bring you joy? Like, how can I make you get a little closer to whatever your goal is? I'm not qualified or smart enough to be able to help people find their purpose in life, but if I can bring them a little bit of joy one way or another, put a smile on their face, maybe make their day a little bit easier, provide a space where they can just hang out for a little while, relax. Those are all things that I think, like, to me, that is my goal at this point. I don't know if that's my purpose for the rest of this life, but that's definitely something that I work on every single time that I can, that I can.
Yeah, when I first started streaming, it was I did it 1 day a week from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
I die.
Like after work. I mean, I just started.
Hey
and
guys,
I would-
welcome in. All right, I'll see you next week.
Time to go. That was the hour playthrough of Subnautica. See you next week. But I was talking about it with my wife, like all the time. Like I really like doing this. She's like, well, why don't you do it more? Why don't you do it for a few hours a night? And it was like the light bulb moment when I'm like, I can. Why don't I?
Yeah, right.
I enjoy doing this. Why don't I do it more?
My wife is like, shut the hell up about streaming.
Well, now she's like that. She's like, okay, fine. You found it. Good for you. Go away now. But
Yeah, so I think it was so of all the different articles that I read, a lot of them will have like 12 steps to find your purpose, or here's the 12 things that we recommend you do. Well, one, there might be some credence to it, but of all the ones I looked at, it was funny that Tyr mentioned something about this, but the number one was develop a growth mindset. And that was, if you're constantly growing and becoming a better version of yourself, it helps you identify your purpose and commit to wanting to pursue it. If another quote that I saw, that if you're not growing, you're dying.
yeah.
And I mean, me as an artist, I can identify with that. It's like, holy crap, if I'm not like, I wonder, like, why I'm not getting better? Why am I not getting better? Well, I'm not practicing as much as I should. I'm not bettering myself.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they think about that growth mindset, failure is the first thing that comes to mind, because we're so ingrained that failure is, never to happen. You're not supposed to fail. You either do it or you don't. There's no trial and error at all. And I'm like, that's so stupid, because if that was the case, one, we wouldn't have the light bulb, because he would just given up at the first one. Like, well, couldn't get this figured out. No, he made thousands. And when asked about it, obviously this is Thomas Edison. I just assumed everyone would know this. But when he was asked, he's like, how come you made so many? He's like, well, I just learned, 10,000 reasons how not to make a light bulb.
Yeah. It's like, I haven't failed. I just found 10,000 things that don't work, or it was something like that. It's a great quote.
Yeah. So, like, another thing with failure is that people aren't willing to accept feedback or any constructive criticism. If I'm not, let's say I can't draw a perfect circle. I mean, I can't. I have tools that allow me to do it better, but when I'm given, feedback about it and I'm quickly to dismiss it, well, guess what? I didn't grow in that case. We had a friend. He'll do the acronym for FAIL, which is FAIL, first attempt in learning. And over the last couple of years, I've added the URE at the end. So I do first attempt in learning unless refusing education, meaning that you're always going to be a failure if you're never going to accept that education, if you're never going to accept the feedback or the constructive criticism. So I just found it was really interesting that like growth mindset was like number one on all these different articles that I was reading.
It's really important just as a person. Like, a lot of times people apply growth mindsets to like a career, right? Like, we talk about it all the time where I work, and it's because I work with a lot of managers and leaders and things like that. And it's, how are you developing your team? How are you developing yourself? Whatever. But even in your personal life, there's a lot you can learn and become a better person, right? And realistically, like if you apply that growth mindset as a person, it's gonna bleed into every single area of your life. So, if you're a better husband, a better partner, a better wife, you're going to be a better manager at work, right? Because you're more compassionate or you're more receptive, you listen more. So, like, I think that's really important is having that mindset. And when you get those people who don't or refuse, who either are maybe don't have the emotional intelligence or the self-awareness to realize like, hey, I have areas to improve, or that's one thing. But then you get those folks who adamantly say like, oh no, like there's no reason for me to work on this, which is something totally different. But either way, it's still very toxic, and it's definitely going to keep you from being the best version of yourself, and probably could very well keep you from finding your purpose.
Well, that's what we're all trying to achieve, just the best version of ourselves. That's the ultimate goal in life, I would imagine.
Well, and I think that goes tenfold because if we become the better version of ourselves, or if we have kids, they get to see that that growth in ourselves, and they get to apply it to themselves. So then that right there starts to create, legacy, like big things. Because if I'm not being my best self, then what reason does my son have to be the best version of himself? And then so on and so forth. When he has kids, it goes down the line. That creates that legacy mindset that the work that I do for me will be tenfold because my kids will get to learn that much earlier than I am. I'm going to be 33 this year. Me
Oh, I'd
learning
love
it,
to.
me learning it just now. I know. Hangry is like, oh, I wish I was 33. But
Angry's like, I'm 76 years old.
Not there yet. Hold on, wait.
but like me as a 33-year-old, I'm just now learning all this stuff. Like I'm just thinking of like how better off my son is because he just turned 11. He's got 22 years on me. He's got all this time that he can learn all of my failures and learn from all the good things that I did, the bad things that I did, and it blows my mind when I think about it because like especially with like doing this podcast, I could see the growth I'm doing it myself, trying to be consistent, trying to make sure that I am more active and vocal instead of just clamming up, keeping to myself, and letting it die on its own.
One of the things I always tell my daughter, I always say, if you're ever upset with why I'm telling you to do something, or um, why am I, if I'm telling you no, or if I'm giving you a direction, I just want you to think, I've already been there. I've already done that. I've made these mistakes. So you don't have to. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did because, I've already learned from them, but it took time. Um, so, don't get angry with me because you think what I'm telling you is wrong. Um, she still does, but I just tell her, look, remember the phrase, been there, done that.
Yep, got the t-shirt and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I tell my kids, like sometimes they'll say, "Oh, Dad, when I grow up, I want to be just like you," and I immediately cut them off, and it says, "Don't be like me, be better than me."
Yeah.
So, so I was going through the list of the 12 things that they say. So the first one was develop a growth mindset. The second one, I've never done this personally. It says create a personal vision statement. Like, and I'm reading that like what they say it is. I'm like, I think that would probably be like a company vision statement.
I was going to say, I'd
Like,
probably have to Google that. What is a vision statement?
yeah. So a personal vision statement can help you manage stress and find balance in your life. This sounds like a load of crap. It also serves as a roadmap that will guide you towards your purpose by identifying your core values and establishing what's important to you.
Well,
It is.
That sounds like snake oil crap right there.
something does have more value when it's written down. If you come up with an arbitrary vision in your head, it's so easy to lose focus on it and just get it mixed up with everything else that's shoved up in there. You write it down, it has a little more meaning to it. So,
Yeah,
all right.
I think it's one of those things like the reinforcement of it
Yeah.
all, right? Because if you're either repeating it to yourself or you see it, you know, no, everybody's different, right? But like if you, I've often heard like if you write something, I used to do this myself. I'd write it on the mirror in the bathroom. You know, like you go to the bathroom 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, 10 times a day, whatever, however often you're in there. But you every time you'll see whatever that is, right? And
Red
it's kind
rum?
of a way, yeah, red rum and lipstick. But it's a way to kind of subconsciously remind yourself and also reinforce, so that when you make decisions, your decisions are more likely to be focused on whatever that, you know. It's almost like a, you know, your purpose. What is your purpose is kind of the vision statement, but it also it's a definitely a business technique and or like well, I don't want to say like one of those weird guru things, like, you know, like you're chanting in the in the circle on there on your in your little, you know, om. But it's a, again, a way to just kind of, the human mind is weird, right? Like it's a very odd thing, and so that reinforcement and that purpose can sometimes just help keep you aligned.
So
That's so real quick. You guys want to know why I went full time?
because your wife said it was okay.
Because no, I'm going to be honest. Okay.
She was like, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
Yeah, no. She because I it was the only way I could not lose my shit. If I'm being honest. After losing my job after 3 years, on my anniversary, on my 3-year anniversary, lost my job. It just cut me out, right? I was furious and angry and shocked and, you know, like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? But hanging out with my chat, hanging out with you guys, doing this with you guys, that keeps me sane. You know what I mean? I'm still looking for another job. It's not like I'm dicking around doing nothing over here. You know what I mean? But I've got to do something to maintain myself so I don't get crushed. That's why I started to do it full time, because I need, you know, instead of therapy, I stream. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there.
I talk to you guys. I talk to my chat. I ask for their stories. I try and help them. That makes me feel better. That's the only reason I went full time. I had no plans to go full time, none whatsoever. But
Sometimes life pushes you in another direction.
I had to, man. I had to, because if I was at home by myself all day and just I'd have all the chores done, like, you know, the yard cut, everything. The house would look immaculate by like noon, and then I'd be sitting here going like, you know, like all day. I'd just be seething, and that's not healthy for anybody.
Well, as much as like this is a purpose where, you know, we find some joy in it, it's an outlet too, right? Like it's a way to express ourselves. I think we all have different creative minds, and, you know, we all run our streams differently, and in ways we're all different kinds of artists, right? In a way, performers, entertainers, whatever. But it's also an outlet. It's a way for you to be yourself. Hopefully, be yourself when you're on stream. Connect with those people, and you know, to Raptor's point, sometimes, you know, a lot of times, and I hear this from people, and it still blows my mind. They're like, you know, I really count on you, and I really, like, I know I can reach out to you, and like I love coming to your stream, and you don't know how much you mean to me. And I'm like, you guys have to understand, like, I need you as much as you think you need me, right? Like you're just as important, every single one of you. And you all have me, but I'm lucky enough because I have all of you, right? Like I have all of you guys. So I'm really the lucky one to be able to have those connections and those people. And while I'm not where I would love to be able to connect with each of them and like share probably some of the deeper, darker secrets that I have, or the things that I'm feeling. I know that if I get to that point, I could, with many of them, right? I could go to them and say, hey, you know, I'm not well, or, you know, I'm really sad, or, you know, I'm struggling with this. So it becomes an outlet. It becomes a way for us to get the emotion out, to, you know, whether that's good, bad, and different, and enjoy ourselves. And I think that for our psyche, that does a lot.
So instead of, you know, talking about work, like what are some ways that we could find purpose? Because I know it's easy for a lot of us guys just to say, "Oh, well, I can find purpose in my job." Well, that's not the case for
I can
everybody.
build shit.
Yeah, that's not the case for everybody. Like, I drive a truck all day. Like, that's not really much of a purpose. That's just a service. So, like, what are things that we can, like, whether they be passion, hobbies, like, what are things that we can find purpose in?
I always, you know, finding finding a purpose is very, it's very close to a career goal. And I always used to tell people, I used to go, would you do this for free? You know what I mean? Would you do this for free? Do you enjoy what you're doing? Do you enjoy your career? Would you do this on your day off for free? If no, we need to find you something that you would. You know what I mean? And that's a good question to ask. At least it's a good start. It's like, okay, if at least I know what I don't want. If you got to do process of elimination to find what you do want, that's fine. My wife is like that. What are we having for dinner? Anyway, no. So all I do, guys, cheat codes. Let me tell you a cheat code. Just say, guess where we're going. Say, guess where we're going. The first answer, absolutely,
That's the
absolutely,
best.
we're going.
How did you know? That's
You
crazy.
know?
You
Oh my
told-
God.
You let out on the secret. Now they all know.
Hey, this is for men. They need help. Okay. Can you imagine?
I almost spent on my coffee on that one.
What? No. Can you imagine? Okay. Imagine this. Imagine this. All right. You've been with your girl or your guy, whatever.
You do
5 months.
Significant other.
Right? Yeah. Significant other. SO. You've been with your SO 5 months. Okay. 5 months. Okay. Y'all may or may not live together. There's a toothbrush at your place. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's dinner time, right? It's dinner time. It's not an hour before dinner time. It is dinner time. You're both hungry and you both ask each other, I don't know, what do you want to do? 3 hours go by and you're hangry at each other and start throwing stuff. Or get that in your back pocket. Guess where we're going? Guess where we're going? Applebee's? Absolutely, we're going to Applebee's right now. This very second, I'm already dressed. We're trying to help people, man. This is important.
Exactly.
I'd be the one person that backfires on. Like, guess where we're going? To Applebee's. Like, that's it. And she'll go, on second thought, where do you want to go? I'm like,
Guess
I
again.
give up. I'm making a sandwich. I gave you a chance. I'm making a sandwich.
Right. That one got him.
That would be how it works out for me too.
Yep, F. I'm making a sandwich. Nope.
Yeah.
We're winging it. That's what we're doing.
And
you
knowing
open
my
up a
luck,
can of SpaghettiOs.
yeah, knowing my luck, I finished making that sandwich, and then she's like, "I have a bite."
Yeah. Sandwich looks good.
Exactly.
Oh, you want to hear? You want to hear the
You are,
funniest damn
dear.
thing you've ever seen? Have you guys seen that Twitter post about the restaurant that actually has? And I'm not kidding. It's called Girlfriend Portion of Fries.
I think
It's
I've seen
literally,
that.
and underneath it literally says, because your girlfriend says she's not hungry, but she's going to eat yours.
Yep.
And it's like $1.
Yep.
That's funny.
I'm like, that is genius.
Absolutely. It's funny, like talking about finding your purpose outside of work. I think for one, you define your purpose. It's up to you. Now, if you're lucky, you find it on the first try. You're real lucky, right? Or it falls into your lap because you end up doing something that you're like, this is what I want to do forever. Or this resonates with me. But I think for most people, to Raptor's point, it's like trial and error. Now, chasing your interest is important, right? Like something that interests you, that could be what your purpose is. That might not be too. You never know. But that's a good place to start. What interests you? What gets you excited? Is it music? Is it, is it content creation? Is it farming? Is it, landscaping? Is it, it doesn't even matter. Working out? Like it could be all of those things, right? You start there and you go, okay, do I really enjoy this enough to make this my goal or my purpose? And then you kind of go, you kind of goal set from there. I don't know. I've always been that guy that goal sets. And I don't always hit those goals, but it helps me plan for my life. And it's not like I plan every single day and every hour or every action I take, but I have an overarching plan and a vision so that I can be able to take steps towards whatever that goal is. And then you kind of make those little mini goals along the way, right? Like, even as content creators, we probably have done that at some point where we're like, okay, I want to be affiliate, right? If you're on Twitch, so you need to have those views, that view count up, or those follower numbers, or maybe it's I want to be a partner, and then you start gauging yourself against where you were a year ago or a month ago, etc. So we're not. It's not that we're not used to setting goals; we're just used to setting them for other things that we like. But you can apply that mindset to like literally anything that you're doing. But it's important that you reflect and you kind of look at where you're at to where you've been and understand like your journey is not the same as anybody else's. You can try to take their formula, you can try to take the things that work for somebody, but you're gonna have to kind of pull those puzzle pieces from everywhere else and figure out. While the journey might be the same, your path might be long and winding. So that's something you have to understand and make peace with.
Yeah, I think to your point.
I'm gonna piggyback off that real quick. Sorry, I'm sorry, man. I saw you gearing up. You're like, I got to piggyback off that.
Start raising hands.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see my thing flashing. I'm gonna piggyback off that real quick. I mean, Tier is absolutely right. I'm gonna channel my job for a second, okay? I'm gonna channel my job for a second. So what I always tell people, I tell people to go after the ideal version of yourself. I mean, set the goal so high you'll never reach it because you'll always work toward it. You know what I mean? It's an ideal is by definition a goal you'll never set, but you'll die trying. You'll leave a legacy of people trying to reach that ideal too. Also, you'll inspire people to want to be that or achieve that. Like world peace. Okay, that's a crazy goal, right? It is an absolutely crazy goal. But everything that you do along the way, you ask yourself, is this getting me closer to my goal? Is this going to help me inch closer? And again, with the small goals along the way, you can measure your progress. You can't measure, okay, the world's not at peace, game over. Like that's not, but you can say, okay, well, I've done this, I've done that, I've worked with these organizations, I've furthered this cause, and you know what I mean? And that's a huge goal that you'll never set, but it puts you on that path in that direction. If that's where you want to go eventually, find the things that keep you on the path you want to be on.
Okay, now I'm gonna piggyback even further. All right, so one, goals do not work for me. My mind, when I think goals, I think if I don't achieve it in this certain set time, I'm instantly a failure. Now, mind you, that contradicts the first thing that I talked about earlier was about failure. Instead, I kind of like tricked my brain a little bit. So instead of seeing it like if I write it down on a piece of paper, I don't write it as a goal. I write it as a checkpoint. Because if you think of it as a goal, that means as soon as you achieve it, it ends. That's not the case. It keeps going, especially in content creation. Like, you hit partner. Well, guess what? As soon as you hit partner, you still have to keep streaming. You still have to keep doing all the things. You don't just hit partner and all of a sudden you make it and then you don't have to do it ever again. So instead I think of it as checkpoints. So like if I was to stream again, I'm already affiliate, but partner, that would be a checkpoint. As soon as I hit that checkpoint, then, you have to think, what's the next thing? All right, well, the next thing would be I need, maybe make this much money or maybe have this much impact, like brand deals and stuff like that. So instead of think of it for me, for my lizard brain, think of it as instead of a goal, think of it as a checkpoint. Because especially like in Sonic, like
milestone.
Yeah, it's like if I let's say I hit the checkpoint in Sonic 2. Well, guess what? As soon as I die, if my character dies, guess what? I come right back to that checkpoint. It's like a safe place that I can hit, and then I can keep going. Then I can go to the finish line. Then I can finish this Act 2 and go on to the next level. Now,
what
the part that I wanted to add on top of what I was going to say is, okay, so I was listening. Okay, I was on TikTok, like we all do. We go down this huge rabbit hole. Well, one of them was this guy was talking about. So I'm sure you guys all know Matthew McConaughey. You've heard of him. You've heard that. All right. Anyways, I do terrible. Raptor's better at it. But
do you watch my content?
Yes.
Have I heard of him?
But I saw there was this guy who was talking about. He's like, when you think about like something that you're striving for, this is what you think of. And then it cut to Matthew McConaughey's Academy Award acceptance speech. and he talked about how he had an important somebody ask him who's his hero. And then he says, he thought, give me a couple weeks and I'll tell you. He's like, oh, I know who it is. It's me in 10 years. So then when he turned 25, that same person came to him. He says, all right, so who's your hero? He says, oh, not even close. My hero is me at 35. And so on and so forth. He always had something to chase. He always wanted to chase a better version of himself, the version of himself that he could never actually achieve because it's always going to be 10 years ahead of him. So soon, I don't know when you'll do it, Raptor, but I would love it if you can re-record that whole speech. I think it would be great. But that's just something I thought of as like.
You mean record McConaughey's speech?
Yeah.
In my impression of him?
Yes, I think it'd be fantastic and be very clip worthy and be something that you can post all over the place.
Yeah, it'd be pretty Inception-y, don't you think?
Just a little bit, but
be a little bit strange, don't you think, buddy?
Nah, it's never strange, especially when you do it.
Be a little bit weird.
But that speech was kind of like to my point of like the checkpoints. Because the perfect version of me is always going to be ahead. It's always going to be something I'm chasing for, always something I'm trying to strive for. So that's where that.
Well, I think you reinforce what I was saying about like our journeys are different, right? Like, so I can set a goal and that's fine for me, but for you, you're like, no, goal. The word goal to me means it's an endpoint. Like I'm done here. You're like, okay, so instead I've got checkpoints or I've got milestones or I've got something else that lets me know I'm making progress, but I'm not done yet, right? And that's perfectly okay too. It's really it's like anything else in life. Like there's no diet that works for everybody. There's no workout plan that works for everybody. There's no degree that's going to work for everybody. That's going to get you $1 million, a year. It can make you CEO. Going to make you rich. You can go to Harvard Law and end up homeless. It doesn't matter. So it's really just important to understand that. But you have to still plan or set goals for yourself. That are relevant to you, and then be self-aware enough, have the emotional intelligence to look back and check yourself, and check your progress.
I'm trying to take Tier seriously and pay attention to what he's saying and shit, and you're all dicking around.
Top Gun 2 is apparently a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, just throwing that out there.
Danger zone. But no, I mean you're absolutely correct. Some people have races to run. Some people have stairs to climb. Some people have ladders to climb. Whatever the metaphor is, it's always about chasing where you want to be. You visualize the end point, and you a little bit along the way. I mean, and that's the thing is that, like Tia was saying, we're all different. All of us are different. Even down to even if we're exactly similar in 99.9% of ways, that 0.1% is going to be a diversion. We're not going to take the same path. We're not going to make the same decisions, have the same perspective. And I think that's why something like this is so important, because, we can share different perspectives and, still, even if we disagree, we can still have intelligent conversation about it. You know what I mean? We're not throwing insults at each other. We're not, taking the piss out of each other. We're not making fun of each other. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be more of that. There needs to be more of that, because there's too much shit slinging in the world right now for people that don't agree with each other, don't see things the same way. Me, I respect everybody's opinion. I know you guys too. I know you guys do too, if I could English. And you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know your perspective. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know the ins and outs of your life. And I think that part of finding your purpose is realizing that, like, your way is not always right. Sometimes you're the problem. Sometimes you're the one who's wrong. Sometimes the world ain't out to get you. You know what I mean? Sometimes it may be an internal change that needs to be made. And you know what I mean? Like I was saying earlier, I put my purpose and my work together, and I feel like that was a mistake. So I'm going to start over from there.
You mentioned something I think that's important is like, and I tell this to people all the time, especially when when I'm training people who are new to leadership, because I've been a leader or a manager since I was 19, so I've been doing this leading people almost 20 years. So I started very early and I had to learn on my own. But one of the things I always tell people, especially as a leader and as you're learning to lead other people, is like, you cannot control what other people do. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. And it's the same thing in life. You can't control what life is going to throw at you. And if you try, you're probably going to end up, with your head up your ass crying, right? So you've got to be able to, it's the old Rocky Balboa, roll with the punches, you're going to get knocked out, that kind of stuff, right? So all you can do is control how you respond, and then the action that you take in response to whatever's happening to you. So that's very important. It's the same for your mentality. You can choose to be upset. You can choose to be sad. It's okay to work through those emotions. Let me make sure that's important. It's okay to feel those ways 100%. Whenever
I resemble that comment, sir.
But what you do with it and how you take action on the back end of that is way more important than the actual thing that happens to you, because that says a lot about your character and about probably your success working through probably that difficult time.
You can't change direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, Hangry.
Yes.
This man doesn't say shit for 15 minutes and comes through with some like sage wisdom. He's like, all right, I'm out.
Peace.
That's the end. We're done here. That's it.
He's like, I was closing it out tonight. You guys didn't know?
Yeah.
He's
Nah, because Soren didn't fucking tell anybody.
Nope.
Mic drop.
Boom.
Yep. He's very much Master Oogway. Yeah, I know. So we keep talking about work, and we keep talking about like management versus leadership. And that was one of the things I learned early on, is the difference between that. A manager is going to bark orders at you. A leader is going to be right there down in the trenches with you. Like the difference between a manager and a leadership for me is the manager is going to be the guy in the office. He's going to be sitting at his desk, crunching the numbers. The leader is going to be out there in the warehouse with you, pushing boxes around, bitching and complaining. It's like, man, it's fucking hot out here. They're right there with you. Like, to them, they might have a management position, but a true leader does not see them as being above or below anyone else. They see the 100% as equals. They're able to influence. They're able to, like motivate, bring the best out of their crew, while a manager just constantly looking at metrics like, well, you're not here because of this, or you come up with arbitrary reasons of why you aren't achieving your goal or a sales number or whatever. Managers always like to rationalize why you aren't doing what they want you to do. A leadership's like, what can we do to help you get to where that goal is? Do we need to sit with you side by side, workshop with you some better ways of doing things? I'm sure Hangry's probably this kind of leader. You've talked about it multiple times. Like, you're not constantly like pushing things down on people. You're like, what can I do as a leader to bring the best out of you?
Yeah, my thing was I was in a supervisor role, and I ran a team of, it was 11 or 12 people, and what I would just tell everyone is, my success isn't the numbers we have to reach. It isn't metrics. Well, I do have to reach them. My success is your success. I was so happy when I had a couple of my team members come up to me and tell me that they've been promoted to another department. They've been stepping up into another department. That's great. You're advancing. I'd love to see that. But they were so they were afraid to like say it. They were, I don't want to go. I like it here, and like, don't be sad. Don't be worried. This is what's best for you. I'm glad we can provide you that stepping stone. And best of luck. That always made me so happy.
Proud Papa.
Yeah, I'm a proud dad.
Proud Papa. He's like, go fly, be free.
Yeah. I think that's one thing too that I've always enjoyed. I think I enjoy most, and I tell the people all the time, especially again new leaders, because I know we're trying to define our purpose outside of work, but I spent a lot of damn time there.
Yeah.
No, but like I tell new leaders, I'm like, it is even if you're self-serving as a leader, right? Like if you want to be, you want to grow yourself, right? Maybe that's not the only goal, but that's something you want in the future. It is a better reflection on you to be able to develop somebody to that next level. Be happy for them, see them succeed, than it is for you to just succeed, right? It's very easy to control your own actions and be successful. I say easy, it's easier to control yourself and be successful than it is to teach somebody and help them develop and let them see success and guide them to the right path. And for me personally, I get way more joy out of seeing somebody else that I've mentored, worked with, helped to develop succeed, and I don't care. I don't care if they get a job over me or they succeed and I didn't succeed. It's really about like I helped make their life better. I think that's a better reflection on you as a leader, not a manager, and a person than anything else.
I love supporting other people with their passions. I love seeing people succeed in what they want to do. I mean, when I'm streaming, if someone comes into my stream, I like to give them the shout outs if they have anything to plug, like if they're selling X, Y, and Z. I had one regular come in. He was selling books, selling candles. I'm like, dude, plug that in my stream, please. Soren's Ko-fi page. I'm like, Soren, you are welcome to plug that anytime. I love to see people succeed. It's just going back to purpose. It's one of my purposes to make this community better overall for everyone, not just me, just as a whole.
It's funny in the streaming space because a lot of times there's this very like me versus you mentality. It is. It's almost 100% of the time, almost
Absolutely.
99% of the time. And so like somebody comes in, either they're more popular than you, or maybe you guys start at the same time, or they started after you, and then they're more successful, and then there's this resentment. Like it's so crazy to see, but like honestly, for me, like more power to you. Like whatever you're doing is working. I'm so glad for you. And again, even if I were to do the exact same thing that you were doing, and replicate you, I may not see that same success. And that's why it's so important that you figure out your own path and everything you do, streaming included. But that negative energy towards resentment or jealousy or whatever it is, or calling somebody out on social media, or it's just been ridiculous lately on stream or Twitter. But
just a little
crazy. That energy could be so much more beneficial to you and others when used in a positive way, right? Like, so it's crazy. So I'm with you, Hangry. I'm 100% with you. Like, even other streamers in the chat, I'm like, look, yo, like, hey, you would love this streamer because this is the content that they stream. These are the type of games that they play. Or you guys have a very similar mentality. I think you should really check them out. So, that's the kind of thing that I want, because that's going to make them a happier person at the end of the day. Then more power to them,
Yeah, and that's
hell yeah. Too many people are fighting amongst each other, and like Tier said, too many people are looking at you, looking at me, and going, man, that guy. And there's always people in the they may not say it to your face, but there's always people like, man, I fucking hate that Raptor guy. He's such an asshole. And it's like, when? Where? Huh?
What I do?
Yeah. Or even
Hangry
like,
cusses all the time off stream. I've seen it.
he's so fake.
So fake. Cancel. Fake news.
That's horse crap.
Yeah.
That is horse poo.
Horse
bullpucky.
duty.
That is actually malarkey.
Yeah.
Hullabaloo.
I've used that word before.
Yeah, it's just it's awful, man. It's awful to see people in the same space, like Tier was saying, especially in it's strange in the content creation space. That's why I love something like this. We're all content creators. We all have vastly different content, and we can still get together, have a conversation about stuff that actually matters, and cut through the BS. There's not a lot of people who do that. They're like, well, this is my content, so screw your content.
Well, you have some people that have the mentality that the only way they're going to get ahead is to tear down other people. And I do not get that for the life of me. Why would you?
It works in the short term. Oh, it absolutely works in the short term. Yes, it does. It'll get you some clout. It'll get you some publicity, but it makes you an asshole.
Yeah, it's you're stepping on your morals at the expense of others, and to Raptor's point, for clout. And one of the worst things that I hate is that the fake to your face kind of thing too, right? Like, to your face, they come, oh hey, how's your stream? Popping in stream, checking on you, and then next thing you know, it's like behind your back, they're talking shit, or they're sending people to do bad things in your stream. Like, I've seen it way too often, and it's just so childish.
Okay. Real quick, I actually witnessed that. So I witnessed that. I was in a dude's stream for about 15 minutes, had talking to him, whatever, talking to the chat, whatever. And I said, all right, man, I'm gonna hop out and pop into a friend's stream because you do that. You got to get around, right? So I left it up for like a minute after I left. I left it up to see what they said,
Oh,
right?
no.
Left them up to, oh yeah. I was like, you know
Oh.
what? It was one of those borderlines where I don't know if I want to, maybe, I'm checking them out, whatever. So I left it up for about a minute, and they were like, all right, Raptor, have a great night, whatever. Did the whole spiel or whatever, and then later they were like, yeah, I don't really like him. He's too loud. And I'm like, bro, like you could have just said, you could have just asked me to keep my voice down. I could have could have lowered my noise gate for you.
I'm sorry I said that to you last night.
Blast.
That wasn't me last night in the stream, actually, Raptor. I'm sorry.
That was Tier. He said.
I'm gonna own up. I'm gonna own up to that one. Yeah, his Arnold impressions are terrible.
Yeah, it was Tier. He said this guy is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Who watches this?
Well, I know what I'm saying next time I pop in your stream.
See? Yeah. Oh, hey Raptor, how's it going, buddy? Dick.
Jesus, keep it down.
They're so loud, even in chat.
I think to that point, it's also you need to know what your worth is. Because I know I've been in a situation where I was doing commissions for people, and this was like last year, and I'm retelling it, but I did a commission, and I was doing some emotes for who I thought was my friend, and like he paid me for the job, and I was doing his commissions, and one of the emotes that I came up with looked. In hindsight, it looked very similar, but I wasn't part of this other guy's stream. Like I didn't know that he had this emote. It was a stupid like VR emote. They looked very similar, but the guy I was doing the commission for, his looked vastly different because he doesn't use like an actual person. He was using an animal for his emote person, and then. So then I had these two people, the person that had the emote that they thought I copied, the person I was doing the commission for, they were both talking once another, and they were talking shit about me. And I had a complete other friend saying, hey, I don't say anything, but like these other people are talking mad shit about you. And oh boy, did it
You must
blow
tell me
up.
this person.
I'll tell you.
I think I know.
I will tell you
I think
privately.
I know.
Do I already know? Have I already?
Maybe, like I'll tell you privately because like, if they listen to this, not that I really care. Like, don't be
whoever
don't be
you
a
are,
scumbag.
Fuck you.
Like
whoever you are, talking shit about my buddy Soaring.
Talk shit to our faces.
Those are the kind
He's
of
the
people
salt
that
of the
I
earth,
absolutely
okay?
hate. Like
You
if you
dick.
like, it's the same thing for managers. If you have a problem with me, come directly to me. Do not go to X, Y, and Z. Then I find out for the grapevine. Because no one wants to find out bad things about you through the grapevine. I would rather get it from the source. Because one, it gets muddled. Two, context is taken way out of proportion. And then three, makes everybody look like an asshole. I thought I did something wrong. And they're like, oh, you copied such and such. I'm like, I didn't copy shit. I'm not even in this guy's stream. Like, we might be friends here and there. I did a previous commission from earlier. But like, I don't like actively go to a stream. It's like, oh, I like that idea for an emote. I'm gonna steal that and bang it for myself. I like that. I like what that guy's doing. No, like, I literally showed him all the sources. I had his emote. I had my reference for the Oculus, and it's like I literally had both of them up on the screen, and I drew them. I was like, wow, this was also the same guy that was like, can you show me all your references because like this is like eerily looking like you traced like.
What the fuck?
It's like,
bro, okay.
F you.
You know what? Do it your damn self.
I was like, yeah.
Here's your money back.
I'll refund your money.
And
you
use
can do
it to
yourself.
purchase somebody to slap the shit out of you. Rude. How you gonna discount somebody's work like that? Come on.
But to my point, know your worth. Like, I don't care what haters are gonna say, whatever they want whatever they want to say about you, but know your worth.
Did they end up using the emote?
No. I snooped their channel a couple of times. I'm like, no, everything that I made for them, they ended up not using.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, whatever. I mean, I got paid in the end. Oh well.
I'm the nicest guy in the world, but don't come after my people. All right, especially for bullshit.
Like,
if you got a legitimate concern, that's one thing. You come after my people for some bullshit, I mean, you're gonna have to hear the loud Raptor. Okay, I'm gonna open my mouth on you, and not in the fun way.
Yeah.
I did that for Tier.
But
He's like, ew.
Sheesh.
So being a part of a community is really important. Like especially if you like find like-minded people, like especially like in this space, like all four of us guys, we're very like-minded, especially when it comes to community, when it comes to the things that we want to see our own selves achieve, but also see other people achieve too. Like, when we were talking about like people tearing each other down, I don't want to be the guy tearing people down. I would much rather. So I like to think of it as like life is going through a staircase. You could either be pushing people off the staircase, or shocker thing, I could be the one help building the staircase higher so other people can achieve more.
Build the ramp.
Yeah. So and to that point, like when you were talking about people tearing people down, there was a TikTok that my first ever stitch that I did on TikTok. Like I'm terrified about TikTok. Like I don't know how to like fucking make content for it, because like a trend can be around for like 5 seconds, and as soon as I do something about it, it's already gone. People are like, what the fuck are you doing about that? Like that trend is
Draw. I'm gonna give you an idea. You ready? You ready? I'm gonna give you
10
an
minutes
idea.
ago.
real quick.
Wait for it.
I'm
Wait
gonna
for
give
it.
you an idea. You ready?
All
So
ears.
do an emote from start to finish and do a time lapse on it. That shit gets mad views, no matter what it is. You know why? Because it's original artwork. People want to see what you just did. They're like, holy shit, he just did. What? Dude, I'm telling you, that's a market. Get it.
But anyways,
Even if there's a million people doing it, they're not doing your art. And no, I'm not going to let you talk.
I know.
It's like,
I know.
anyways,
Moving on.
Yeah.
Speaking of tearing people down, so this guy, I don't know how I got onto Powerlifter TikTok, but I did, and it's great
Nice.
because like Iron Sanctuary is one of those people that I watch, and
How to
like,
become Tyr
watch him come
Mjolnir.
from like the fat guy to the yoked guy is like super inspiring. But anyways, it came to this guy. He had this hat similar style that I have backwards. He's like, you know what I fucking hate about this community? Anime fucking dorks.
Oh, that guy.
And I was
I've
like,
seen that one.
I commented, and I was like, because he was like, this isn't manly, you coming in here and talk about anime fucking things. And I was like, first of all, your definition of manly is fundamentally wrong. And apparently he hated all the backlash he was getting, because he must have thought, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get a bunch of clout because all my gym bros are gonna come back me up. But then he didn't realize there's like 1,000+ anime dorks out there that are like, no, you fucking talk about my community, I'm gonna bash you on the internet. Like,
That's
dude,
literally like 75% of dudes.
That's
That's your target audience, bro.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was like, I told him, I was like, I use the analogy, instead of tearing people down, build them up. The same hammer that breaks glass could also temper steel. Like, go figure. Like, you can make somebody stronger by, hey, you're doing a fantastic job. Raptor, I love your smile. I love your enthusiasm you bring to your stream. Hangry, I love that you're branching out and doing more games besides just like Hades and Final Fantasy and the Stanley Parable. I love that you're trying new games. Tyr, your stream is freaking ridiculous. Seeing all these
It
people
is.
with their commands
I
and
fucking
watching
love
all these
this dude's
videos.
stream,
Insane.
man. I love
Like,
coming in here.
I'll come in and if one of the other guys aren't on, I'll pop a host for you, and I just sit back and just like, I want to see the chaos. And
It's really
sure enough, it happens. Like, instead of I literally just uplifted 3 other guys in a matter of less than 5 minutes. That's all it takes. It's free. I was already watching these guys' streams anyways. I'm picking out something I enjoyed about it, telling them about it. Now they know, hey, they like me branching out. They like, what I'm doing in my stream. Instead of like, man, the guy's fucking loud. He needs to, he needs to dial that volume down. Or I don't like it
Have
that
a
someone
noise
comes.
gate, man.
Yeah, like, I don't like it when someone turns on the blue screen of death. There's like, what happens to the gameplay? I could easily tear someone down, but it's being kind is free. Doesn't take effort. It takes more muscles to make a frown than it does a smile.
That's why I do it. Work that face out.
You gotta get that face action. You gotta
10 to
get that-
15
you
of
gotta get
those
the
a day.
pump. Look at my forehead pump right now. Look at it.
Look how chiseled that jaw is on Raptor. It's all the frowning
Yeah.
he does.
Mm.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
All the
Yeah.
frowning. Yo, y'all want to hear something funny? So the first time I got into Tyr's stream, I'm dead serious. This is what I got. Are you ready for this shit? This is what I got. I clicked on his stream. I'm not kidding. The first thing I heard, it was click, load up, pop a boner, and then an ad. I'm not kidding. I was like, I'm not kidding. I literally got the words pop a boner and then a friggin' ad. And I was like, I'm hooked. This is it.
That's on brand for me, 100%.
Yeah, he was doing
I was like,
he
this
was
is
doing
it, man.
stream airs when I
I'm
came
sold.
in. I was like, all right, I have a host I can do. Let's do one real quick. And mind you, I haven't seen the host gif that Tier pops up in his stream, but watching is like, Soaring hosted your channel, and this little character is like jerking off a cucumber. And but you know
Good
what?
times.
Then less than 5 minutes later, someone else is popping commands left and right. So you got all these funny videos popping up, and like his host one is actually tame.
It is. It is.
So
He's like, if you don't like me, that's your fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the thing that we can do is just, you know, to help find our purpose, it's just like group ourselves with like-minded people. You know, if everybody's, you know, if Tier's, you know, purpose-driven, Hangry's purpose-driven, I'm going to be more likely to be purpose-driven too, because I have these examples to follow.
Yeah, it's that it's kind of like that old adage of like you are the 3 closest people or 5 closest people, depending on which one you quote, like you surround yourself with.
Yeah, it's you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right. So why would you surround yourself with people who are Debbie Downers or bringing you down or who are negative Nancys, right? Because you're gonna stoop to that level. So you need to surround yourself with those people who are positive, those people who lift each other up, reinforce you, because that's going to make a huge difference. And then you can hopefully be that same beacon for those folks around you, right? So that's important. I think the other thing is important is just I don't say constructive criticism, but just like realistic feedback for each other too. You know, being able to hold each other accountable. Like if we're gonna fuck up, we're human. We're gonna make mistakes. You know, there have been times on stream where I had somebody do something and I was like, all right, kid, you know, you should probably stop it. And then I stopped like afterwards and thought about it and like I should have taken quicker action on somebody who was like being a troll in chat, right? And I know that I welcome that because of the way that my stream runs. But to an extent, like when it blurs the line of being offensive or bigoted or anything like that, I need to protect the people that come to me and spend time with me. So, you know, I'm going to make mistakes like that. And, you know, in that situation, I was able to go back afterwards and talk to the people who I felt were hurt and say, hey, you know, I apologize that I didn't take action. Thinking back on that, that was wrong. And if it upset you or if you were hurt by that, I really apologize. And in the future, you know, I'm going to be quicker to pull the trigger and ask for forgiveness afterwards in an effort to protect the people around me. So I think, you know, that's important is that you hold each other accountable as well.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm hanging out with you guys. You know, I would say my 3 closest friends on here. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't know y'all super well. I know Soaring really well, but I think I have a pretty good judge of character, you know, and I do enjoy hanging out with you guys and I like hearing your perspectives. And so Soaring looks dead inside right now. Can we?
I'm listening.
He's just like,
It also doesn't help that the camera's coming from a up high level, pointing down on me. Like it's a weird angle. And plus, it was stupid hot at work today, and so like even though I'm in an air conditioned truck, I still have to get out and go to my.
We got this.
Go to the
forehead action.
Nick Smirks.
I want to play.
Yeah,
I already have my camera zoomed in.
All 3.
Hey, it's all right. No one else.
Just go ahead and take us seriously.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm losing a lot of hair.
Oh no.
Me too.
We need to start getting on that sponsorships.
Yeah.
Right? I need to get on them Nick Merck sponsorships. Yeah. Forehead action. I call it 5-Head Studios.
5-Head.
Can we not call it forehead action? That just sounds off.
4 heads in action? Hello?
I mean,
is this like Five Guys?
The Tier Millionaire. That's the Tier Millionaire influence right there.
Yeah, Tier special, baby.
But
no, so you are the 3 closest people that, you know, like you guys, at least in the content creation space, you guys are the ones that I'm closest to. So I'm Soaring Knight, which is a true-hearted, genuine human being who actually wants to see people succeed. I am the most wholesome dude I've ever met, and I am Yoke Hippie Jesus, who is the coolest. I swear to God, if I could have a beer with you guys, this would be the wildest night ever. I feel like Hangry would fall asleep with his shoes on, and then I feel like Soaring. I do. I feel like Hangry would fall asleep with his shoes on, and Tier and me would both be like, "No, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna be the guy awake."
I do get sleepy when I drink a lot. I usually fall
Soaring's
asleep.
He's gonna record the entire thing. It's gonna be awful.
And
it's
drive you all home.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm the responsible adult. So it's funny you say that. It's like anytime we ever go out with me and the wife, and she's gonna drink. She doesn't drink very often just because of a lot of her medicines. It really fucks things up. But if she does drink, people are like, "Oh, did you have a ride home?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's this guy." Like she points to me as like, "Yeah, I'm the DDFN, the designated driver for life." So, I mean, that's that's me. Like I had a buddy that died in high school because of a drunk driver. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna drink, I'm not going anywhere. Like for a minimum of like 24 hours.
Take your keys.
Now, mind
bitch.
you, I did break that rule a couple days ago. I did have one wine cooler, but I also made sure to pound 2 waters, so it was all right. I know.
Is that the equation?
Well, for me it is.
You having a wine cooler is like Hangry saying, fuck.
Yeah.
Yep, ruined it.
Yeah.
Look, he's like, well, you know.
So I'm with Soren. I don't like beer. I don't drink beer. I very rarely drink anything, but when I do, it is something. It goes anywhere between a wine cooler or whiskey on the rocks. There's like no in between for me.
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis?
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, Dos Equis.
So I know when another thing when people think about purpose is they think about like joining a cause, like Raptors streaming for Nami. You know, that would be a very purpose-minded thing, whether it be a charity or like probably in Tier's case, probably like animal welfare because he loves animals so much. Hangry, probably a cause that sells coffee, but it supports other things. Just off, right off the dome. Joining a cause, giving back in some way is a way that you can find purpose.
Way to bring it back.
Yeah, this man is trying to steer this content so hard. If you guys, listeners out there, if you guys are hearing this, whoever is hearing this, you have got to give Soren credit for it because this shit is off the rails and he is trying so hard to rein it in. He's doing so good and staying very even keel, very not get the fuck back on task, boys. That's what that's the
He's
look on his
being
face.
a leader.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a leader, not a manager.
I'm feeling very managed right now.
That's all right. We'll talk about that in your in-person review in November.
Oh God.
Dun dun dun.
I hated all those.
Oh, they're the worst. Here's all the things you're doing wrong, and here's a very, very,
I just
very
hope I
short
have a
list of all
fucking
the things you're
in-person
doing.
review in November, dude. I'm dead serious.
You will. You will.
I'll give you one if you really want one. I mean,
But yeah, to
well,
Raptors.
we noticed on your stream that.
But to Raptor's point, yeah, like you three have instantly become my best friends. Like Raptor's been my best friend since, literally since I first started watching his streams and getting to know him. Watching my wife become part of the Hangry's community, and then me inadvertently become part of it too. And then through a friend, we found Tier. So like, we're all grouped together. I've told some things that I haven't told anybody else. Just on this podcast, I've really opened up about some of the biggest things in my life, whether they've been they've been made live yet, or I'm keeping them for like a special video down the line. But like, I don't tell these things to just anybody. You guys are, you're not just my friends. You're at this point, you're family. So
you got to let that shit go eventually too. Like you know what I mean? Like when you find that person, when you find those people that you feel like you can actually be yourself with, you know what I mean? When you can lay it down, like literally lay it down. I mean, and that's tough, man. It's tough. When you find somebody who's literally laying it down right in front of you and you feel like you can do the same thing, you gotta clutch that, man. You gotta hold on to that. Because there's too many people in this world who are too proud. They're like, nah, I'll be fine. It's like you're suffering inside, bro. Like, you eventually something's gonna break. And being able to like, the shit I've talked about on this podcast has been shit I'll talk about with my, only my brother I would talk to, about some of this shit. You know what I mean? And he's not here anymore. So it's hugely therapeutic to be able to let that burden out. You know what I mean? And the listeners out there definitely do that. You know, if you have that person, holding it back is just hurting yourself. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Holding it back is hurting yourself. You got to let that shit go. It ain't worth it. You don't want to see yourself destroyed because you were too proud to let somebody in.
Yeah.
Shit's deep.
Yeah, it does get deep. Just, just thinking about like, all the things that we've already talked about, the things that we eventually are going to talk about. You know, where would we be if we just kept that to ourselves? One,
The sheer girth of the subject.
Girth.
it's just, yeah, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to think about, to
That's what
grasp.
she said.
I know. I was softballing it, waiting for it.
Girth. What are you doing?
I heard girth. Here I am.
The yoke one speaketh.
I said the girth of the subject, and then Soaring immediately said, "That's a lot to take in."
Oh boy.
Oh,
Sounds like my stream.
Yeah.
86-mile-an-hour fastball just a bit outside.
But
Well,
Jeez.
with that on the table now.
yeah, it's a really hard
But I'm
Oh, it's not on the
segue.
table. This isn't.
we can't put it on the table. It'll break the table.
Yeah, this ain't X-rated, man. This is it's so hard. You know, the thing is, the difficulty is, yeah, it's so hard, Hangry. It's what I'm saying. The difficulty with a podcast like this, when we get into deep subjects and shit, is like you got to toe that line because you don't want to make it dark and depressing the whole time. But then again, you don't want to make light of a serious situation either. So I'm like trying to squeeze something in there to break up the tension like that. Hangry again, squeeze it in there. Yeah.
I
Anyway.
feel bad. I completely missed
He's like, I hate this guy. I hate him. Why are you But yeah, I don't want anybody to think I'm making light of a serious situation or anything. It's comic tension to break it up because you don't want it to be super depressing. That's not what this is about. This is trying to be uplifting. We're trying to push people to a positive, and we're trying to inspire people to be more open, not less. Like I don't want to sound like that. You know
Listen,
what I mean?
One of my goals on my stream is if I can leave one person feeling better after watching my stream, if they come in, oh, my day sucked, and, there's so much stress and this and that. If they can watch my stream, hang out for 5 minutes and just say, hey, you know what? Thank you. You put me in a better mood. I really had a good time. I've done what I've set out to do. That's it.
It's weird too. Like I'll get somebody that says like thank you for streaming, and I'm like, why are you thanking me? Like I was having a good time here hanging out with you. You don't gotta say
Welcome.
Yeah.
You gotta say it like
You're
that
welcome.
too.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I do.
Yeah. I hope you like that. But it's like it's
You like me in your ear hole?
like that. I can get a little closer. Turn up the turn up the volume here. Yeah, it's just weird. It's something I need to work on too is gratitude because I am really bad at like taking compliments or somebody doing something nice for me. It just makes me feel super awkward. I love to be the person giving the compliment, to saying the nice thing, to doing the good deed, but sure as hell I'm not good at being on the receiving end of that. And so streaming has helped me because I've had people say nice things or do nice things, and even when they just drop a Prime sub, which is like completely free for them in the long run, right? It's just like, man, thank you so much for doing that. Like I just getting used to that and practicing the gratitude I think is important for my growth too. Since we talked about growth earlier.
I got a serious question about gratitude. Does anybody else find themselves saying thank you or I appreciate it way too damn much and sounded like a dumbass? Because that's me. When Tyr was saying I suck at compliments, I'm literally thinking Tyr is my spirit animal right now. He's saying what I'm thinking. Because I say I appreciate it like 5 fucking times in a sentence, and I'm like, shut up, dude. Stop.
Yeah. No, I'm bad about it. I appreciate you saying it. Even in my like personal life, I just say that shit all the time. I'm like, man, I gotta think of something else to say.
Yeah, I say
Southern gentleman. I say I do apologize. I say I do apologize.
I do.
I say I do. Serious. It's like a
do.
reflex. If something happens, I go, I do apologize about that. My wife's like, stop fucking saying that. You sound like an idiot. I'm like,
I do apologize.
I do apologize,
But I do.
yeah,
I say that.
I don't know what it is.
I say that a lot at work. Like if I'm like, swapping out a shred barrel for a customer, and like they're like, "Thank you," and I was like, "Well, I appreciate you because you could have just made this, 100 times worse by, not unlocking your door or not pointing to where it is because you moved it." Like,
Soring's like, no, you.
Yeah.
I have said that once. They're like, "Thank you." I was like, "No, you," and they're like,
That's
I
weird.
always say that when somebody says "Have a good day." I go,
Yeah.
no, you.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm gonna start carrying around a Uno reverse card. When someone says thank you, I'm just gonna be like,
It's really funny
Oh
when
my god, dude! I have the coolest business card in the world. You know what it says on it? It says you're amazing. Keep that shit up. You're fucking awesome. It says that. I don't even know where I got them. I have like 3. It says you're fucking awesome in huge, like a highlight right underneath. It says keep that shit up, and it says signed a concerned citizen. I'm gonna fucking leave that on somebody's windshield and just record it.
There you go.
"Okay, so have you seen those stickers that you could put on your debit card? Like you can pick whatever design you want for it, and like it ships to you and you put it on your debit card." I had thinking of the Uno
Dangerous.
reverse, I thought about like the ultimate dad joke is you go to pay for dinner and you pull out your debit card and it's got the Uno reverse on it, and like everyone at the table just thinks that it's it's the actual Uno reverse card. It's like, "You actually carry that with you?" It's like, "Oh no, that's my debit card."
The restaurant has to pay now. Yeah. The
They're
restaurant
like,
has to
yeah, I
pay.
know a guy. He just, I make it look like I'm paying. Don't even worry about it, all right?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. It's like it seems like in almost every industry there is one guy that will say that they know a guy for anything, whether it be fishing, mechanic work, graphic design, just anything. Like, "Oh, you need stuff done? I know a guy."
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I'm from
Oh,
New
guy.
Jersey. We all know a guy.
Yeah. So
Hangry is the guy.
Just-
Don't tell anybody, you dick.
First rule of Fight Club.
I think
What's the second rule of Fight Club?
so for me, when I've been trying to figure out what my purpose is, like I know I'm not streaming right now. I have a really bad time with the imposter syndrome. I know not Hangry, Raptor is struggling. He's like, he's trying to keep segue. Why we keep going off the track,
So
but he keeps
proud of
coming
you.
back to it. Well, I watch a lot of Linus Tech Tips, and they are fantastic when it comes to their sponsor segues. It's just like on a dime, he's able to segue into his sponsor. And it's just, I think that's where I'm trying to learn it from. But so I currently am not streaming. I'm still trying to figure out like what the hell I'm gonna do. Also, when we switched rooms, it fucked up the internet. So like my iPad doesn't connect to my computer anymore because the internet is like it's not wanting to play nice with it. So I can't do art streams currently. But when doing the research for this, a lot of people have been talking about like practice self-acceptance, know what your limitations are, be kinder to yourself. We all make mistakes. Beating yourself up is not going to get you anywhere. Have that self-compassion for yourself and self-awareness to know like you want to achieve this, but you can only go 5 steps at a time. You can't go 0 to 100. You can't achieve all the things you want to achieve. Jeez, is everybody gonna put glasses on?
What the hell is that? Those are the coolest sunglasses I've ever seen.
I felt left
You
out.
got us.
I think
got
Hangry
us.
wins. Hangry wins.
Seriously, bar none, the coolest sunglasses I've ever seen in my life.
It keeps
Is
lining
that
up.
Stuart Little's?
I think they're from like some sort of LOL toy or something.
Yeah, that seems
Now we
very
lost
on
them.
brand.
But
Looks
the
like
sheer
veins.
brain power to go, you know what?
I
I've
got you.
got tiny sunglasses and just figure out where they are and go get them.
Oh
Like,
man, I was trying to screenshot it so I can get
How do I
everybody
do
with
that?
glasses on.
Sorry.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Yep, I got that.
This will be the thumbnail.
That is definitely being saved and uploaded somewhere. But
Damn it.
so I think with a purpose, know that you have limitations. You cannot achieve everything. Like for me, I can't set goals. I have to set checkpoints. That way, I don't, try and like overreach myself because then I get burned out or I, have the self-doubt creep in, and then I just don't do anything. I don't do art. I don't do streaming. I don't do just anything. Like right now, the podcast is the only thing that besides my job, is the most consistent thing that I can do for content creation, because I'm constantly researching. Two, I'm editing, and also learning to be better at editing so that it doesn't sound like shit at the end. Three, reaching out to people I would not normally reach out to, either A, try to get them on the podcast, or B, like get their help on a topic. Say, hey, you're a great person on this topic. Let's get together, talk about things, and maybe we can make an episode out of it. So like, just in starting the podcast, I've seen huge growth in me, like stepping out, and I think I'm becoming more in line of what I want my future self to be, and now I know what I want to chase. I know I have, my next, my current checkpoint is that I want the podcast to grow to 500 listeners. I'm not as concerned with the retention rate right now. I just want to hit 500, and then we'll work on go through the metrics to figure out what can we do to help with the retention rate. So finding your purpose, know that you do have limits. Don't push yourself too far.
I think,
and also
I
reach
think
out
too. I think challenging yourself is important, right? Like when you get stagnant, we talked about this earlier. Like if you're not growing, you're dying. But like actively challenge yourself. Like find those little things to work on. Like to your point, this is your content creation right now, so you're kind of forcing yourself to learn better editing skills and things like that. So that challenging of yourself is going to help keep that growth mindset and obviously make you a little bit better at whatever it is you're working on. So it's easy to be comfortable, but again, kind of like cliche, but growth doesn't happen in those comfortable spaces. It happens in those places where you're uncomfortable, where you force yourself to do things that you maybe wouldn't normally do or have to do, because then you kind of have to kind of dig deep a little bit, or use resources, or tag in a partner, or build a relationship that maybe you wouldn't previously. So because it's not something you're comfortable with, it forces you to grow.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that point, you could also have negative growth too. So think of a pond with no circulation. What happens when water becomes stagnant for too long? It starts to grow algae. Then you have mosquitoes show up, and that creates a negative growth, because then you're having to fight even harder to rewrite, bring circulation to the pond so that the algae goes away, or maybe you let your morals slip and some bad eggs got into your community and now they're causing a ruckus. Then you have to really double up on your morals, take those people out of your community, whether you kick them out, ban them, talk to them one-on-one, however may that look in your community. That way you can kind of correct the ship. So while yes, challenge yourself to have growth is good, don't also become stagnant, that then the negative growth happens too.
If Hangry was raising his hand, I'm dead ass.
No.
I did.
I am getting the knocks at the door, though.
Just kidding.
Itchy head.
Yo, does anybody else see ZZ Top when they look at Tier right now?
A little bit. Very much.
Beard's not long enough, man. Beard's not long enough.
It's so good. The coolness is just oozing out of this dude. He's like, hey. Y'all know what I do.
Yeah. I think that's that is a good point to wrap up this episode. I'll come up with some more questions, and then we'll either do a part 2 on this, or we'll come back to it later and figure out what we learned after this episode came live, and see people's feedback about it. So I hope everyone had a fantastic week. Keep doing what you're doing. I know this is going off the rails. I keep looking at Raptor and I keep seeing him smile. It's like, oh, he's butchering.
No, man, I'm just thinking about your and my interview. That shit was ridiculous.
It was all right. So
that needs to be deleted.
It's still on my computer. I haven't figured out what to do with it. But it was plagued with my audio issues too. So I am hoping and praying this sounds great. But so I hope everyone has a fantastic week. I hope BB does well. I know you have some vet things that you're dealing with. Raptor, I hope that the job front is prosperous for you. Hopefully you get some good leads. Hangry, hope that HangryPixels is good. and actually goes to bed at a decent time so that you
Oh,
can
that's
get
all.
some sleep. I know it's the one struggle about parenting is like, just go to sleep, just go to sleep, just go to sleep.
We want her to
be
go to
sick.
sleep.
Please be sick so I can actually justify giving you cough medicine that makes you drowsy.
Well, me and the wife are planning on watching the last episode of Stranger Things season 4 today. We have one episode left in this
So good.
season, I guess. So we're like, just go to bed so we can watch this.
Like,
Please.
Mommy and Daddy
Please.
wants to watch TV by themselves.
F in the chat.
So I appreciate you guys coming here, discussing this open forum, opening yourselves up, and hopefully, our listeners will learn something from this. So if you found this podcast helpful, or you want to suggest topics for us to cover in a future episode, the best way you can do that is to leave a review on whatever podcast app you are listening on. We are on most platforms out there, but if there's one that you're not, reach out in our socials and we'll try and be on there. We will read your reviews and use any of your topics or suggestions in a future episode. We shoot for 5 stars, but let us know how we can get there. And like we always say, though life might get you down, stand tall and we forge on.